Yeah, first light on my face and the charts look clean. Yeah, phone buzz twice, that's a market routine. Yeah, I don't chase hype, I just follow my scheme. Turn late night work to a midday dream. Yeah, crypto on the rise and the vibe too smooth. Graph look wavy like I'm watching it groove. I've been in my bag with the numbers I move. Whole squad eating, got nothing to prove. I feel so brand new, whole day lined up. Yeah, I came to improve. Good vibes, one shot, don't snooze. Good morning world, I got wins to choose. GM, let the day unfold. Bright screen, big dreams, watch the story told. Market move like it's dipped in gold. Good morning crypto, yeah, we break that mold. GM, let the plans all hit. New block, new play, let's commit to the bid. Life's too short just to barely exist. Wake up, lock in, make the whole world shift. New day, new chart, new rhythm, I'm blending. Profit in the trend, but the mindset's ascended. Every small loss, just a vibe I amended. I don't call quits, I call lessons extended. Bright sky, big grind, that's the life I chase. Turn my doubts to dust with a little bit of faith. Patience in my heart, yeah, I'll run my pace. Slow built wins never go to waste. Sun up, I feel so brand new. Whole day lined up, yeah, I came to improve. Good vibes, one shot, don't snooze. Good morning world, I got wins to choose. GM, let the day unfold. Bright screen, big dreams, watch the profits roll. Market climb like the story foretold. Good morning crypto, yeah, let's take control. GM, yeah, the vibes stay lit. Stack cold, stack gold, stack every small win. Life's too real just to sleep, don't wake up, going hard, make the whole love spin. Yeah, first light, let's ride. GM, yeah. The future's on our side, yeah.
Step one, wake up early, go rise the sun. Step two, get some good, some food in you. Step three, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step four, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Good morning, and welcome to Good Morning Crypto, where we turn your early hours in the morning into your edge and financial freedom. Today, I've got a few headlines to go over. I know it's been a little while, but we had some big news coming out from market close yesterday, and I saw some things coming out of the energy sector. So we will talk about those this morning, and then we'll take a look at some charts. If you got any TA requests you want me to go over, go ahead, throw them out now. We will get to those when we get to those. But before we get to all of that, you know what I got pulled up in the background? It's that stock heat map, and let's see what's going on. We've got quite a bit of movements this morning. We've got a little bit to the downside, not too unexpected, after a little bit of a red day across the board on some of those big seven. We've got Apple continuing on a little bit of a downtrend here, down 0.2% this morning. Nvidia sitting towards the upside, up 0.59. We got Berkshire Hathaway continuing on a little bit of a downtrend, looking a little bit neutral though, was down 0.07 off of its close, down 0.03 this morning. We've got Amazon sitting down 1.41 off of its close yesterday, sitting a little bit towards the upside this morning, up 0.46. We've got Eli Lilly down 1.85 from its close yesterday, looking a little bit towards the upside, up 0.27. We've got ExxonMobil down 0.56 from its close, looking quite neutral this morning, down 0.03. We've got Tesla looking quite neutral this morning, down 0.01% after a green day yesterday. PNG continuing on its downtrend as well, down 0.17 this morning. We've got Microsoft looking a little bit green this morning, up 0.39. Google up 0.51, and Meta sitting up 0.58. This is looking extremely different than the crypto markets. Let's get over here. As you can see, it is nothing but a sea of red bubbles, except for Leo, which is not unexpected. It is that exchange token that gets a little bit of some upside when the market's seeing some red, and TRX for some reason sitting in the green. We've got Bitcoin down 1.7%. My short played out from yesterday. We've got Ethereum down 1.7. We've got XRP down 3.8. We've got BNB down 1.7. Solana sitting down 4.3. Hopefully JR got to take a little bit of some profits and reposition on that Solana trade. We've got Tron sitting up 1.6%. Dogecoin sitting down 3.4. We've got Cardano down 3.6. Bitcoin Cash looking extremely neutral this morning. Up a little bit on the hourly. We've got Chainlink down 2.9%, $14, still a far way off from that last target we all heard, which is $42. I don't think it ever gets there until the next cycle. We've got Leo token up 0.6% on the daily and up 0.2% on the hourly. We've got Hyperliquid losing a spot in the market cap from Leo token, sitting down 7.9%, continuing to see a lot of sell-off on the hourly as well, down almost a full percent. Stellar Lumen sitting down 1.9%. Litecoin sitting down 2.2%. We've got Shui in the number 20 spot sitting down 2.9% as well. Avalanche falling outside of that top 20, sitting at number 21 now. We've got those fear and greed meters starting to look a little bit better here. The stock side is still in fear, but up in the 40 range, very, very close to neutral. We will have to see if we can continue with that cool off on the fear and greeds, get a little bit of some money flow coming on in. For the crypto side of things, we're still sitting in fear as well, up 2 points, but still close to that 20 range. Let's get over to that liquidation heat map. Let's get it moved down to 0.8 so we can see that liquidity just a little bit better here. We've got quite a bit of liquidity towards the upside on this daily time frame. That's sitting up at 93,300. We will have to see if we can turn something into some support to really get back up in that range. If not, we've got quite a bit of liquidity that was sitting towards the downside on a higher term time frame. When you zoom this on out, 3 days really showing that hot spot up at 95,000. We will kind of have to see if we can get up there and grab it. Got to zoom this on out just a little bit further here to really see that downside liquidity, and that's all the way down here at 83,900 all the way down to 82,900. Nice little $1,000 zone where there's quite a bit of liquidity at, and we'll have to see if we continue with this ranging movement that we've been doing, really grabbing up top side liquidity, grabbing up bottom side liquidity before we really get that stronger move towards the upside to really grab up the top side. That is on the highest time frame here. That was back up at that $110,000 mark. I guess it's a little bit lighter now, but that was way back up here at the highs, probably on that 1 month there. Let me get that moved to the 1 month real quick. Yep, there we go. Up at that $110,000 mark. We have quite a bit of liquidity. That's kind of that area we'd look for a last ditch effort to really get out after we continue with our sideways momentum there. Let's get over to our Bitcoin chart. Say good morning to the people. Let's get that zoomed on out to the daily for you. There we go. We got quite a bit of people in the chat this morning. We've got Al Jr. in here. We've got Stephen Farmer, Curtis Hill in the house. We've got Crypto Billy in here. We've got Jay in the chat this morning. Good morning to you. Let's see, we got maybe a Band-Aid in here. Good morning. We've got JR in the house. He went live right before me. If you missed it, go back, take a little look at it. I'm sure someone will drop his link in the chat. We've got All Set in here. Good morning, good morning. Let's see who else we got. We got Dylan VA in the house. Good morning, good morning. We've got Crypto Bedell in here. Good morning, good morning. We've got Gear in here as well. Good morning, good morning. Let's see who else. We got John Shanks in the house. Good morning, good morning. He said good morning, y'all. That's the kind of verbiage I like to hear. I use that all the time. JR saying, yeah, I TP'd back to 24 printage. I don't know. Let's see. Anything else I missed? Not looking like it. All right. Well, if you got any alt requests, go ahead and throw them out now. If you got any stock requests either, go ahead and throw those out now. We will get to those after we get through Bitcoin and the few news articles we have to look at. We were talking about some movements towards the upside the other day, an area we could potentially see some resistance at, and that was 93,800. Pretty much exactly where we saw our resistance come in. And then we talked about a movement back towards our fair value gap here. This is an old fair value gap. It is closed, but as we've seen before, old fair value gaps play out over and over again. This was an area we were potentially looking for. As we talked about, we have a lot of liquidity towards the downside that really needs to clear out. And we've got a nice little sideways range here that is below that 93,800 and our 382 down here. This was a nice little grab of liquidity. We grabbed liquidity here as well. We've grabbed liquidity towards the upside. And, you know, it's kind of a nice little range to play out. Once you get towards support, nice little area to long. Once you get to resistance, nice little area to short. As we're looking here, we might see a little bit of bouncing in our fair value gap all over again. We're getting quite a bit of curvature here on the daily time frame. Nice little sideways momentum coming on in. Same here on that prime oscillator as we continue to see our red money flow. We have been seeing a little bit of an uptick of volume, but nothing too crazy just yet. We'll kind of have to zoom this on in, take a look at that 4 hour, see what's going on there, see if we can get that continuation of volume, or if we're just going to continue to see volume come in, get us a nice little pump towards the upside, volume go out, really see that continued sell-off here in this sideways range. Let me get my kill zones hidden there. As you can see, we got that nice little rejection off of 93,800, kind of that area we were looking for. We were looking for that potential bounce off of the top side of that fair value gap. We did get that a few times, and then we dropped back into the fair value gap. That next real area I'd kind of look for some bouncing at, going to be that midline. That's going to be about 90,300, potentially see some bouncing around there. We do have some sideways momentum coming in on our MACD here. Nothing too crazy, but just a little bit coming in on that 4 hour. So potential to see a little bit of some bouncing if we can get some continued cool off. Volume is dropping just a little bit here as we continue to see just a little bit of green money flow. So we'll have to see if we can continue to get this buying pressure here on the 4 hour that gives you that little bit of a ability to bounce here at the midline or down at the bottom side. So those are those two areas I'd kind of look for some bouncing at. First one's 90,300. Second one's coming in at 88,670. So those are those two areas I'd really look for some bouncing at. You do have that 1 hour looking nice and cooled off here, but the big worry is that we're in some red money flow. As you're starting to see a little bit of sideways momentum coming in on that MACD, you do have your secondary reversal signal that has flashed. You're still sitting in the red on the prime oscillator. Can definitely see some extra bottoming here as you would need to see that flip from red money flow to green money flow, and you need a little bit of volume. Every single time we've seen the volume go down in our sideways range here, we get a little bit of some sell-off. That means that the the bulls are taking a step back and the bears are really taking control, but not doing it with increased volume. So kind of keep your eye on that. We are in a little bit of a downtrend here, and I would just look for those areas that have nice abilities to hit along at. Take profits early because we are in that downtrend. Taking a look at that 15-minute here. 15-minute looking nice and bottomed as well, but kind of similar to that 1 hour. We've still got that red money flow. Nice little reversal signal, nice little reversal signal here. And we're at a point where we could potentially see price go either way. But as we're seeing that continued red money flow here on the shorter term time frame, I'd look for a little bit of sideways momentum and then a continuation towards the downside, unless you see a drastic change in that money flow. So for now, continuing on that downtrend, just looking for that next little bouncing area. First one coming in at 90,300. All right, let's see what's going on. Stock CRSP. Can definitely take a look at that. CRSP. We'll get that one on the stock side. Let's see. I know I saw a few alt requests there. We got Solana and Turbo. We can take a look at both of those. Turbo on that list as well. Not seeing anything else there. We've got John Shanks asking for Turbo. Good morning to you. Let's see, we've got Loco for Crypto, also known as Donato Cabrera in the house. We got French Toaster, the bravest little toaster here. Let's see, anything else? Not seeing any other alt requests. All right, let's get over to those news articles. If you got any other stock requests or alt requests, go ahead and drop them in the chat for me. Screw that, I don't want to sign up for nothing. All right, this was the big one I saw. You know, there was a lot of talk about renewable energy in our last administration, big amounts of money that were going into it, and now we're kind of seeing the switch up. I've been talking about nuclear for a long time here. As we were watching for that administration change, I was looking for a new form of energy to be really adopted in America. And we've seen that really come our way. At the same time, we've been seeing a lot of this here. Understanding why America's biggest solar thermal project is coming to an end. One of the most ambitious solar projects in history is quietly heading for shutdown after just a decade of operation. The Ivapan solar power facility in California's Mojave Desert was once hailed as a symbol of America's clean energy future. A $2.2 billion utility-scale solar thermal plant that promised to power 140,000 homes. And that proved that big, futuristic, renewable projects could work. You know, we've talked a lot about nuclear here, and this is a massive solar plant that was just supposed to power $140,000 homes. We've talked about nuclear density over and over and over again, and nothing is as energy dense as nuclear is. And that's a big reason that a lot of these solar farms are going to get shut down. Only 140,000 homes. Look how much area that is taking up. If you had 3 nuclear plants there that were powering energy, you're talking about over 1 million homes are going to be powered. And that's why you've slowly seen a lot of these solar farms get shut down. A lot of the money just started flowing out after that administration change, and I would look for this to kind of take a back seat here. You do need to be in a specific area for solar to really be feasible, and it's only really feasible on the small scale. Once you get out to things like this is where nuclear really comes to call. Because it is way more energy dense than anything else is, and that'll supply way more homes for the area that it's going to take up. So not surprising to see this one shut down here on the news of shutdowns, we did see a few other things here. So we've got Home Depot. Where is that coming from? Screw your ads. There we go. We've got Home Depot files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. You know, this is not too unexpected, as we've seen a lot of the economy taking a hit. Jobs numbers are down. We've seen retail sales really taking a dive. Home Depot files for Chapter 11. And we've seen a few other companies take this route as well. Del Monte, a 139-year-old fruit and vegetable company, is filing for Chapter 11 as well. And then I saw a few other retailers along the same lines that are filing for Chapter 11. And this is all while we're told, yep, inflation is down, jobs are fine, we're going to cut rates, this is an amazing economy. So what's up? Are they telling us the truth, or are they lying to us? They're definitely lying to us. You don't see this massive wave of companies filing for bankruptcy when the economy is amazing and inflation is down and the jobs numbers aren't a big deal. This is not the kind of news you get. So they are 100% lying to us, and we will have to see how far this goes. Because Home Depot is a massive retailer. It is Lowe's only real competition. And taking Home Depot out is a massive, massive, massive hit to the economy. Same thing as Del Monte, one of the oldest producers for vegetables and fruits in the United States. Most of those canned goods that you see are Del Monte. And watching this one file for Chapter 11, these are signs you don't see when the economy is doing amazing. So keep your eyes out for this. I have seen other retailers that have been filing for Chapter 11. Not just you've got your retail, you've got food producers. You've also got someone that was a sporting goods store over on the East Coast. That is one of the biggest internet stores. Just filed for Chapter 11 as well. So keep your eyes on this. I do think this continues to go on. So that was what I got for the news this morning. We did have several alt requests to take a look at, but I did have a few stocks I wanted to go over first. JR took a look at one of those this morning. We will get over to gold first, because we've been hounding that gold train as we've seen these signs continue with the economy. I bet Dick's Sporting Goods is next. I wouldn't be too surprised on that one either. You know, they don't really produce a whole lot. They're just moving goods from China and selling them here. And they've really failed to keep up with other stores and with like Walmart and Amazon. When I can just buy it from Walmart or Amazon, why do I need Dick's? And they've really failed to keep up on the internet side of everything. So, JR, quit being a degen. You gotta get it together, sir. You don't need that extra money. Just trade it. There you go. All right. We did have a few things to go over this morning. One of those was gold. I did want to take a look at silver here. And then I've got a few other stocks that we were talking about yesterday that did quite amazing here. And they stopped with guns and ammo. Yeah, that was a big one. So Dick's stopping selling guns and ammo, that was a big portion of their sales, and I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised to see them be that next company to really file for Chapter 11. And we will continue to drop the news as we get more and more of these companies, because I don't think it stops, especially when you see one of the oldest companies in America that is on that dividend stock list, that has been a dividend king for over 50 years, increasing its dividend, going for bankruptcy. That's bad news there. That is extremely bad news. Why is Arby's still around? Oh my goodness. Because they got the meats, French toaster. It's that simple. They got the meats. So that is why they're still around. But we did see gold seeing a little bit of some upside movements after a nice little bounce off of the midline of our fair value gap here that we were looking at. And then we got back towards the top side here. We were talking about an area that was $4,205. We have maintained towards the top side of that besides this little hammer candle here on the higher term time frame. And we're really waiting to see if we can break above our resistance. We do have a little bit of resistance up here at $4,245. That's that area to really break above to see that next little movement all the way up to $4,382. I say little movement, but that's a pretty big move for gold. That is back towards those all-time highs on gold, and we'll have to see if we can really hold our support area, because that next real move to make above all this is going to be up at $4,700. This is a nice little cool off for gold. We have been seeing quite a few signs that the economy is not doing well, and if they start printing more money like they've talked about doing, not just ending QT but also starting QE, you're really going to see gold explode towards the upside. So keep that in mind. If they do those rate cuts and you get QE coming in 2026, keep your eyes up on those upside targets. 4,700, easy target for gold to hit once they start QE. We are seeing a little bit of sideways momentum coming in here on the daily. So we'll have to see what happens with our money flow. Money flow still maintaining its nice green here, but we're seeing that sideways momentum on that prime oscillator as well. Just waiting for some volume here. We have been seeing a little bit of a lack of volume here on the higher term time frame, which is not too unexpected, as we're really waiting to see if gold's going to get that nice little push towards the upside. That's when you normally see a little more money jumping on in, people late towards the moves. So we did hold that platinum pocket, got back above our one line, and we're really waiting to see if we find our resistance back up at that 4,240 area and get that push back down to make a higher low all over again, or if we're really going to see some strong money flow coming on in that pushes us back towards those all-time highs. Let's get this zoomed on in. Take a look at our hourly here. Hourly is looking quite interesting, as you do see a little bit of some pushbacks up towards our local resistance. That was at 4,240 area. You're starting to see just a little bit of topping, but your money flow is maintaining in the green here, getting some nice little bounces. Really waiting to see if we get that third reversal signal that flashes with a stronger push towards the upside, and then you get that nice little move back towards the downside to make that macro higher low. So few little things to kind of keep your eye on, as we do see that money flow really kind of staying stagnant here on those shorter term time frames. I would look for lower pushes once you get back up towards our higher resistance. Taking a look at that 15 minutes also looking like we could continue this little bit of an uptrend for now, but starting to see quite a bit of toppiness coming on in on the shorter term time frame as well. You've got those reversal signals on the top side really starting to play out, and that money flow starting to get that rollover as well, as your volume really stays a little bit stagnant here. So not really seeing any big pushes of volume coming on in, as your money flow just switches from red to green, back to red, back to green. So we're doing a little bit of some battle on top of that fair value gap. I'd really look for that fair value gap to get topside to get lost again once we get back up towards that higher resistance at 4,240 or 4,260. Those are those two areas to kind of watch for some resistance at. Let's get those horizontal rays drawn on out for you. This is that first one to kind of keep your eye on. Screw that magnet, it's so annoying. 4,244, kind of get some wicking off of that. And then that higher one is up here at 4,264. So those are those two areas on the top side to really watch for gold, see a little bit of resistance coming on in. And then we had some nuclear stocks we were talking about yesterday. Jay asked for those in the chat, and nice pushes towards the upside. We were taking a look at OKLO as one of my favorites. We got that move back up towards our CME gap. That's an area we were calling on out, and now we're looking to see if we can get that little bit of cool off in the pre-market. We were way down here at about 103 this morning when that pre-market started up, and we're slowly getting that push back towards the upside here. Would like to see that pre-market open up above 108. That is that nice little support line from way back here on the bottom side of that CME gap. That would give you that cool off on the shorter term time frame, and then give you that ability to really see that continuation on the higher term time frame. As you have been seeing that, get that nice buy up in the pre-market. $103 was a nice discount, especially when you've seen where OKLO goes, and that's all the way up to 200 there. We've been talking about this one for a while. We will see if it gets that continuation here on the daily, because it's played this move over and over again. No reversal signals flashing, and then massive moves towards the upside. Kind of that same position we're looking for here. Nice little discount move. We were talking about buying at about $85 to $90. I did do some buy-in, and I'm sitting up quite nicely on some OKLO. Now we're waiting to see us do some battle with our CME gap. That bottom side looking like it's coming in as some resistance. That's $111.30. That's exactly where this daily candle closed. But we've got a lot to look at here on the daily. As your MACD breaks above our indicator line, we're starting to catch some momentum on those histograms. You've got your prime oscillator getting that curvature back towards the upside, and your money flow on the daily is maintaining it as green, as your true 7 switches from red to green here. So really getting quite a bit of momentum. We will have to see if we can continue to get that money flow to come back in here on the shorter term time frames. Things looked extremely nice. We did get a little bit of toppiness here on the hourly. Not too unexpected after like a 20% move towards the upside. It did close at 15%. So nice strong move, but from our bottoms here, as you get this really pulled on up, that's a nice little 42% move towards the upside. To see that nice little bit of cool off in the pre-market this morning was not too unexpected, and $100 seemed like a nice little buying spot when you can double your money if we get back to all-time highs. So nice little buying spot in that pre-market, and we've seen it slowly get back above our 50% line on our fib retracements, and now we're gunning for 108.94 as that next real area to kind of keep your eye on. Money flow was just getting into the green here on the hourly, and we'll have to see if we can get some continuation there. 15 minutes was looking for some cool off. We had those bearish divergences really print on out, but that pre-market really got most of that move there. So that bearish divergence would have happened in that pre-market, really pushed down towards 100, and we're waiting to see if we can continue on with this money flow here. That'd give you a nice little bit of a move here where you just end up going sideways and then curve back towards the upside. When OKLO moves, OKLO moves extremely hard. So we did have SMR to take a look at. That was that other nuclear stock we were talking about. You know, we called out the levels down here where we had $17.35 being that first area to kind of keep your eye on. And then we had our CME gap to keep our eye on as well. That was $18.60. and $17.91. This whole zone right here was the buying zone that we were calling on out, and we got that nice strong move off of it after we got that cool off all the way to there. So nice little cool off here for SMR. As you can see, we got quite the sell off, and we're really waiting to see if we can get back up towards that next CME gap towards the upside there. We did have a few areas we were potentially looking for some short-term resistance at. Let's get that zoomed on out. Take a look at that 4 hour there. Give you a little bit of a better view. So as you can see, we had a few areas we were potentially looking for some resistance at, and we came short of that the 50% line on that fib extensions. That was $24.16. But we're at a pretty interesting level here. This is where we saw some resistance before. That's 2266. Screw that magnet. It's so annoying. There we go. Let's get that horizontal ray drawn on out so you can see it a little bit better. This was our resistance area. We got a nice little bit of a pullback towards it, and we got some bouncing off of it. Pre-market is looking like it's opening a little bit towards the upside here, so we'll have to see if we can get that continuation back up towards our 50% line and see if we got $24.19 coming in as our stronger resistance. Did someone say magnet? Yes, I did, Trade Intuition. Unlike you though, I hate the magnet on TradingView. I try to do something and then it pulls my mouse to an area that I didn't want it. I'm like, why? I can pretty much nail it on there. Dang, Piper, you could ASMR for reals. Oh my goodness. So I'm BC Port Corp. Piper goes live at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So this is that early pre-market show. Let's see what's going on the shorter term time frames, because SMR still sitting in some red money flow on the shorter term time frame, but the nice thing we're looking at here on the shorter term time frame is some green money flow. We are seeing a little bit of sideways momentum on that. We didn't get that true 7 clipping on out, but that pre-market did get that same sell-off that OKLO did, and then we got that pullback up above our resistance. So really looking to see if we can continue to hold 2262 so we can get that move back up towards our 50% line there. We are seeing just a little bit of some need for some cool off there, but definitely could continue towards the upside, as SMR has also moved the same way that OKLO does. Nuclear has been that big move. As you see here, we did get those reversal signals that flashed here on the daily, unlike on OKLO. So kind of same move here that we've seen before. Nice little cool off. This is what gave us our fib extension levels here. We've got that reversal signal, and a bottoming indicator with some bullish divergences, kind of waiting for some of the same moves here. We did get that nice little reversal signal. We're waiting for our secondary reversal signal and that switch of money flow. So kind of that move to watch for on the daily term, on that daily time frame. We're getting some nice signals here that this could be ready to blast off again. Nice little break above our indicator line, prime oscillator pointing towards the upside, just waiting on some money. 15 minutes and the morning looking quite nice, as you see this extremely green money flow here, and that increase of volume. We do have that bearish divergence that played out in the pre-market and got that push back up towards our above where that candle closed at. So definitely a nice little area where we could get just a little bit of cool off with a little bit of sideways momentum before that stronger push towards our higher term time frame resistance at $24.20. So that's what I got for some nuclear stocks this morning. We will kind of have to see if we get that continuation. I did call on another nuclear stock yesterday, but we got some alt requests and stock requests to go over. So you'll have to go back and watch yesterday's show when I was doing a little bit of nuclear TA. We did have a CRSP to take a look at. So let's get that one. That is on the stock side. CRSP. I don't know why it sounds familiar. CRISPR Therapeutics. Let's see. I don't think I have this one on my list. Nice little cool off there. We will get this zoomed on out to the higher term time frame so we can see things just a little bit better. This is that weekly chart for you. Nice little sideways momentum. So nice little sideways momentum. We do have plenty of resistance back up at the top side, 90-ish dollars. So let's get a few horizontals thrown on out for you. We did have this area here coming in as some resistance. We'll make that a higher term time frame. And then we got this secondary area where we look for some resistance up back at 91.35. So few areas of resistance right there. Let's get this fib pulled from the highs to the lows there. Nice highs up at $220. So nice little discount here with the 382 coming in as some resistance. Probably going to go off our more of the lows there where we have more of the consistent touches on the bottom side. Nice little deviation below, grab up any liquidity that was sitting there on the futures market before we really get that push back towards the upside. So the area to watch for us to break here is going to be 80 to that 83.18, pretty much in line with our 236. 236 is actually 81.84. So if you can break 81.84, this has a lot of upside potential. Weekly, nice and cooled off here as it maintains some green money flow. So kind of looking for that potential to really get that move towards the upside here. Starting to see that sideways momentum coming on in on that MACD line as well. Really seeing that cool off on the histogram as well on that weekly. Let's see what's going on that daily time frame. So we do have our money flow here in red on the daily, nice and cooled off on the volume. We did get our first real reversal signal. Not too unexpected to see those peak seekers up at our resistance area, which was at 236. We'll kind of have to see if we can continue here. We've got that secondary lower low here, but more on the macro side, we've got those higher lows. So higher highs here coming on in, higher lows coming on in, and we'll just have to see if we continue with this range here back up to the 236. Would look for that pushback down somewhere around the 60 range, and then try to get that nice little pushback up towards our resistance. So nice little uptrend here on the higher term time frame that we'd be looking for a break of our 236. If we can't break that 236 again, looking back towards the downside, this is a nice little consolidation phase. Also, normally that area where you would look for some accumulation. We will kind of have to see if this can break that 236 and then continue on towards the upside. Hourly is looking pretty nice for some toppiness, but you got that nice green money flow here. So we'll have to see if we can break above our CME gap at $60.66 to really get that push back towards the upside here, back towards that 236 area. And that is the CME gap from $60.16 to $61.45. Just a small CME gap. We do have a little bit of resistance above there coming in at $65.27. So a little bit of a resistance zone coming in right here. That would go all the way. Let's get that pulled on up for you so you can see it a little bit better. That's coming in from about here to here, where we'd see a little bit of a resistance area coming on in. Let's get that red for you. So on the shorter term time frame, this is going to be your resistance that goes from the CME gap towards our higher resistance up there where we really struggled to get above. So are seeing a little bit of toppiness, but that doesn't mean you can't see some continuation if you continue to see this money flow coming on in with some strength there. 15 minutes in the morning, Also looking extremely, extremely toppy. You do see extremely green money flow here. You did get a few peak seekers, some bearish divergence that played out. I didn't get to see the pre-market really open up on this, so you could have got that nice little pushback down in that pre-market and then that pushback up, which would have given you that bearish divergence play out there. So we'll kind of have to see if you can break back above our CME gap, talking about $60.27, and then really see if you can get that touch off of the midline there, 62-ish, which is right around that CME gap top as well. So a few areas for resistance towards the upside, but macro looking pretty nice here. So that was CRSP for you. Let's take a look at Sol and some Turbo. I did see another request. We had ADA. Let's get ADA on that list. And then I saw another one as well. Where was it? SMX. SMX. Got that one on the list. That's all I got for now. So let's get over to ADA. Y'all having some fun in the chat there. This is Solana. Wow. So Solana was getting those moves back up towards our resistance. We were talking about some nice sideways momentum here as well. We did get a nice little deviation above towards our higher term time frame resistance. That was 47.90 before we got that pushback down. That would have been a nice grab up of liquidity here. Let's get that demonstration tool pulled up. So we had our resistance coming in at about this area, which was 144. Nice little deviation above, grab up liquidity, push back down. This is our midline of our sideways area, 137.17. Looks like we're losing that area, so we will have to see if we get that continuation push towards the downside. Let's get that daily time frame pulled on up here. Let's get this zoomed on out, see what's going on the daily. We are seeing a little bit of red money flow here, a little bit of sideways momentum coming on in, but that MACD and prime oscillator do look kind of nice for some continuation towards the upside if you can get this money flow to switch. So let's get this zoomed on in, see what's going on that 4 hour there. 4 hour telling a little bit of a better story as you get that break towards the downside. Money flow switching to red, MACD and prime oscillator looking for a little bit of some cool off. Really waiting to see that sideways momentum come on in here. For now, we just got that nice little curve towards the bottom as your volume tries to maintain here, and you lose the midline of our sideways movement here. So you definitely have a few areas to potentially look for on the downside. That first one coming in at 133, that is an area where we've got rejections and bounces off of as we've lost 137. So next area below that coming in as a stronger bouncing zone is going to be 130. We would have to see how red this money flow is going to get on the shorter term time frame. Hourly is looking nice and cooled off here. You do have a bullish divergence, but that money flow really looking like you're probably going to get a couple more bullish divergences. So volume is extremely low as that money flow continues to go into the red there. Definitely have a few areas towards the downside that would give you a few more bullish divergences before you really see that price div. This is what we've seen in our sideways range here over and over again. Divs aren't divin until you see that money flow switch. So 15-minute and the morning also looking a little bit iffy. You do have that red money flow, but you've been swapping back and forth here as your volume is a little bit lower. We'll kind of have to see if we can get that next real reversal signal that flashes, but your prime oscillator sitting in the red, getting that move towards the downside. You do have those red candles on the histogram, and your MACD is pointing back towards the downside. We are under 137. As you see, we rejected off of there this morning. We'll have to see if we get that harsher rejection down to 133, or if we at least hold 136 for now, really do some battle with our midline of our sideways momentum. So that's what I got for some Solana. I would look for some downside. 140 is going to be that next real area towards the upside to keep your eye on. We had Turbo to take a look at. So let's take a look at some Turbo. See what's going on there. I never do charting on those memes. So let's see what's going on. Nice little uptrend here on the shorter term time frame. Let's get this daily pulled on up. Oh, that tells a very different story here. So this has just seen some massive sell-off since its all-time highs. Really holding the bottom side quite nicely. Let's get that horizontal ray drawn on out. So 0011408 looking like our nice strong support area here. Let's get that a little bit better. There we go. 001319. That is our strong support towards the downside. Really seeing a little bit of consolidation here. Failing to get above our highs up here. 002947. That's that area we really need to break if we want to see any kind of upward momentum there. Screw your magnet. There we go. It's so annoying as you try to draw out some trend lines there. So we do have a nice little sideways area here as well. Would not be too unexpected to see this push back towards the downside on the higher term time frame. It is a little bit toppy. We are trying to make a higher low here. Would look to see us hold our highs here. 002235. That is also pretty much the middle of this area here. Let's get this drawn a little bit better from the highs. There we go. So that's that top side to kind of look for. Would potentially look for a higher low here and then a push back up towards our resistance, and we'll have to see how price reacts in that area there. Well, let's get this zoomed on in, take a look at our hourly, and then see if we can get a fib level drawn on up for us, because looking like we've got plenty to kind of keep our eye on. We'll get from the highs to the lows there. Actually, let's get this zoom back out. Draw the fib from the top to the bottom here. Nice little area to kind of keep your eye on. Top to the bottom. Looking like we're doing some battle with that 382. That'd be that first real area to kind of see how price reacts once we get back up towards it. So a lot of sell pressure sitting above that 236 here. As you can see, nothing but wicks above that 236, breaking back below it right now. Does look like the 236 is a little bit weak, and we would have to see if we can get this as a trend line here with some higher lows, and then we would see if we can break above that 236 with some strength there. Let's get a little bit of a trend line. This is not a confirmed trend line just yet, so a little dashed line for you. There we go. That is that potential trend line for you to keep your eye on for some bouncing, and then see if we can break above that 236, break towards our higher resistance at 003. That'd be that area to really see that resistance coming on in at. This is a nice little sideways area for Turbo, so I would just look for the highs, short the highs, look back towards support, long support. So that's kind of that thing across the crypto markets for now. So we've got Alexandra G in the house. Good morning, good morning. Hope you're having a great day so far. We've got Lunar Beaches Crypto in the chat as well. Good morning, good morning. LBC saying you're still live. I pushed my show start to 6 my time, so 7 a.m. Eastern. Since I'm off work, it makes it a whole lot easier to just go live at the nice time and then push everyone over to Alexo Crypto. Speaking of which, let me get that redirect set up since he goes live in 10 minutes. Where is he? Is he not going live? I'm not seeing him on the list there, so I guess I don't know what's going on there. I went live before BC. Yeah, JR went live before me, and then I went live. So push the start time back. It is winter. looking like we're a little bit toppy on turbo on the daily. Hourly looking nice and cooled off though. You do have a bullish divergence, but your money flow is still sitting in the red there, so a little bit iffy as you're getting that curvature back down. Really waiting for that true 7 to start clipping on out. Let's see what's going on. 15-minute in the morning. 15-minute in the morning looking nice and bottomed here as you see this sideways movement around that 236. Would look to see if we can get that pull back up to 236. Would really need to break above 0024 to get any kind of stronger movements towards our resistance. So we do have that nice potential for some support if we continue to see that red money flow on the shorter term time frame as well. Sometimes Alex doesn't schedule a stream until like a minute before. Yeah, it makes it a little difficult to redirect towards them sometimes. So that's what I got for some turbo. Let's take a look at ADA real quick, and then we will see if we got time for some SMX. So ADA on my list, getting that push below 43 cents. That was an area we're potentially looking to see us hold, and if not, looking for some stronger downside. So we do have a few areas to kind of keep your eye on towards the downside. First one coming in at about 41.5 cents. That is down here where we got our lows and our nice little pause here on our way towards the upside. We'll kind of have to see what's going on. Ooh, on that 4 hour there. Let's get that zoomed on out here. Seeing quite a bit of toppiness to that 45-cent zone. That was an area where we're potentially looking for some resistance anyway. Then we started getting that curvature back down. Not too unexpected. It's what we've been seeing across the board. We'll kind of have to see if we can get that price to find some support at around 41 at 1. So that is that horizontal area I'd kind of look for some potential bouncing at. We got a lot of bouncing there before. Let's get that as a shorter term time frame one there. So potential for some bouncing around that area. That's also exactly where we got our pause on the way towards the upside there. Drop that link in my Discord, JR. Oh, yeah, drop the links in his Discord, JR. So we lost 43.5 cents. That was our area we're potentially looking for some support at as we get that harsher rollover there. So definitely have that potential for a pushback up towards it and then a harsher rejection towards the downside as we continue to see this rollover on the 4 hour. Hourly is looking a little bit bottomed here. You do have that true 7 clipping on out. So potential for that pushback up towards that area and then a harsher rejection towards the downside there. Let me get a drink real quick. So potential for that pushback up and then a harsher rejection towards the downside. We are looking a little bit bottomed here, but your money flow is the big issue. You got that 15-minute in the morning looking a little bit bottomed here. You did switch from red to green here on that prime oscillator. MACD trying to break above our indicator line here. We did get that nice little cool off on the histogram as well. So a little bit of a push up in the morning would not be too unexpected. Like we said, that area was 43, almost 44 cents to see a little bit of resistance at before that harsher pushback towards the downside. Do London, JR. It's the only time I can go without stepping on toes. I'm going live at night too, though. Yeah, the London is a great session to go live in. It's also one of my favorites to trade. You really see that either harsh continuation of trend or you see that nice little reversal of trend. So those are those two things the London really likes to do. And today we really got that harsher move towards the downside on London Open. Alex just scheduled his stream. Let me get that redirect all set up then. Boom. It's about time. It still doesn't say it for me. Alex, oh. I guess I'll have to wait a second, and then we will get that redirect all set up because it's not showing up on my end just yet. Good morning, CCM. Yeah, I switched my time on lives since I don't have to go to work. I can go live a little bit later, catch a little more viewers. So we had SMX. Maybe this was a stock. We've got Security Matters Public Limited, or on the crypto side of things, Snap Muse. So I'm not sure which one of those they were asking for there. Let's see. Customization. Let's see if he shows on up there yet. Yeah, it's still not showing up on my end just yet. But LBC dropped that link in the chat for you, so once you see that all finished up. Oh, there he goes. It just dropped in his Discord too. Let's see, is it gonna show up now? Security. All right, we can take a look at that stock real quick, and then we'll get you all over to Alex O. I prefer those stocks, so let's get over to our stock page and get this pulled on up. SMX. Security Matters Public Limited. Dang, nice little push up towards resistance there. As you can see, 166.49 as our stronger resistance area here. We got a few touches off of that. That is also a CME gap top. So look at that. CME gap top, nice strong resistance, and a little bit of a pushback down. We have that CME gap there to kind of draw on out. We'll get that pulled up real quick. CME gap from here to here. Let's get that colored blue. That is what we color CME gaps around here. That is a CME gap that is closed. So let's get that one. Seeing if we got that pushback towards the downside of it. Broke below CME gap bottom. Let's get this zoomed on out, higher term time frame. We've got another CME gap that we're pushing up towards right now in the pre-market. So this is from here to here. This one is not closed. So nice open CME gap that we're playing around in the pre-market. We got that pushback up towards the top side of that one. We'll see how price reacts on that market open. I would look to see a little bit of some play in this area. You do have that midline looking like it was just the support. 272.44 looking like our nice support. We got resistance at 306. That's that area that we would potentially look for that continued resistance at, unless you really see that crazy continuation of money flow here. So hourly is looking a little bit toppy there. Doesn't mean you can't continue towards the upside though. Let's get that daily pulled on up, really see what those levels might be. Nice little consolidation phase. Not sure what this company does. Daily looking a little bit toppy there. Let's get fibs pulled on up from the highs to the lows there. 236 would be that next little area, $486. So we do have a few areas to potentially look for above us. If we can break above this CME gap area, just be aware this is also a CME gap that we're making right now. That would start from here to wherever price decides to open up here. So CME gaps on CME gaps on CME gaps. Would look to potentially see this one close on out with our movements in the morning, and then close on out the CME gap we just made before a continuation towards stronger resistance. Not real sure what this company does, so I can't speak on it a whole lot. It has been massively consolidated. As you can see, it has just been on an extreme sell-off here. So definitely looking like it was overdue for some pushes towards the upside. As you can see, hasn't been on a nice trend in quite the while. So this is pretty nice. Push towards the upside, getting some corrections that it hasn't seen in forever. Doesn't mean that you're breaking trends though, because as you can see, it is massively battered down. But if you caught this move, a nice little move to catch. MACD just breaking above our zero line here. Would need to see that strong continuation of money flow though, which looks like it struggles to do quite a bit. Sell off and green money flow on the higher term time frames. So definitely could get that quick switch back towards the downside. But this was a nice little consolidation here, looking like it could be a little bit of a reversal of trend, but you got several areas to watch for resistance at. So 236 and 382. That's what I got for that one. Let's see what we got. Alex O, do you got your stream all done there? Still not letting me redirect towards them, so I don't know what is going on with that, but I will see y'all at Alex O here in a few seconds. Thanks for tuning on in. We've got the morning micro report at 10 a.m. Eastern time. That is the place to be if you like the macro data. Don't know what's going on with OC, but normally he goes live at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And if you like to trade and you like tinfoil hat theories, that is the place to be. But until next time, make sure to wake up, because today's going to be a good day.